City of Stevens Point Tourism Commission meeting, recorded February 26, 2025.
All right, call to order the Tourism Commission meeting in February 26, 2025. Could we please have a roll?
Disher?
Here.
O'Connor?
Here.
Schrader?
Here.
Sedlick?
Here.
Wynn?
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. Item number 2, approval of the December 12, 24 meeting minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Who'd you give it to? Okay.
I don't care.
Yeah, whoever you want.
Pick one.
Any discussion? Being none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 3, a funding request for Zenoff Park walk-in cooler freezer upgrade by the Stevens Point Softball Association. Matt, would you like to?
So, this actually, I think, started years ago. So found out there's a leak in the building. There was some structural damage done to the building. The city got the structural damage taken care of. And so we're looking to upgrade what used to be there was just a walk-in cooler to be a walk-in cooler with a freezer. We currently have about 7 or 8 deep freezers throughout the park that we put product in. And because like McCain's donates product to us, but we can only pick it up all at once. So we have to store it somewhere. So the idea of upgrading to a walk-in freezer, number one, and I think it'll save energy across a bunch of walk-in coolers or deep freezers and convenience. And the stuff that we continue to bring into the concession stand keeps people at the park, which then we donate, or well, we, part of our contract, pay 10% back to the city.
All right. All right, any?
And you have funding that's coming already from
The city has $5,000.
Oh, yeah, 5,000 and then, okay. And then
We have money that we can pay back.
Got it.
Because we are
Thank you.
funded out through, I think we have 6 more years on turf that we pay. So I mean, if we can pay the Tourism Commission back money if we need to, that would be our funding source. We don't, last year we made $1,100. The year before that we lost $8,000. The year before that we made about $1,200. We usually land around $1,000 until we get our turf paid off. That takes a big chunk of the money we would have.
All right. Other?
I guess one thing we could look at doing, and I talked to Dan earlier, is if the city purchases this equipment, we can save $1,800 taxes right away.
That would have been the goal anyway, was to ask Dan to purchase it and have it come through the city.
Sure, okay, so we
Then
can.
it saves on those taxes.
I guess the other thing I was looking at, and you brought it up too, if we could just add on to the end of that. Generally speaking, we don't fund more than 50% of something. So would you be willing, if the commission said we'll do half, so we're down to 34 because we took out the taxes, 17, you got 6 from the city. We put in 17, and then you make up the difference and add on to the end of the program?
If it's on at the end, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I mean,
sounds reasonable.
and not all at once, can it be a payment plan?
Just, if you're paying about $6,500 a year now,
Yeah.
at the end of it, it'll be about $6,500
Yeah.
for 2 more years,
Yeah.
Basically.
I think we can agree on that.
Okay.
I'm just throwing that out. I mean, I'm just one person.
No, it was absolutely something that I came up with last night, almost exactly, so.
I know
Would you-
the other part of it is, so the reason 2 years ago we lost $8,000 is because we replaced the compressor already for the walk-in cooler. So that's part of what's missing on here, is the
Okay.
compressor that was already replaced. Otherwise, we would have put, Jack said we would have had to put a new compressor in with this unit.
Matthew, what did that compressor cost?
8.
All in around $8,000.
And SPSA paid for that?
We had some insurance money, but we ended up paying out of pocket about $4,000 for it.
Okay, so about half.
So we've already got something in there that's, okay, saving us money.
Yeah.
The freezer.
You know what, just for a quick comment, I think the SPSA is kind of unique in that and that there's nobody, except for umpires, scorekeepers, and concessionaires who gets paid or reimbursed for anything. And every dime that they make goes directly back into the park or to some type of improvement. I don't know, Dan, is there another group out there that does what we do?
I can't necessarily answer. I mean, the youth groups obviously put the money back in the parks too, so
Yeah, I don't know.
there's other groups that definitely do very similar models.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, any
And,
more?
I mean, the other thing too, I would say, we'd fund up to half of the, let's say, half of 34. If you choose to find a smaller cooler, then of course you could save money and we would save money too.
Yeah.
If all of a sudden you say, you know what, I can get one a little bit smaller and make it work.
Okay.
How about the freezers you currently have? Can you put them on Marketplace and sell them?
That would be the idea, yeah. I don't know what.
And then that money would come off this?
We can do that, yeah. I mean, I don't
That
know
would
what
be
we'll get
some of
for
their
them. They've
donation.
been at a ballpark, they're all beat up.
I'm sorry?
I would almost consider that part of their
Right. I
Their
just want to
money
make sure that we're,
yeah.
I just happened to have bought a stand-up freezer, so we'll go for a gift.
All right, how about a motion?
Can I ask on the math? So were you saying, like, essentially a grant of up to 17,000, a loan of 11,000, the city's contribution is 6? Is that what you were saying?
The city contribution is 6, right?
Yep, 6, yep.
Our contribution would be
Half of it.
half of,
Of the 28?
yeah,
So you're saying
Yeah.
14 total?
yes.
So 14 total, and then the loan would be 14,000. Okay, so I make sure I had the math right for, if you guys make a motion to that effect.
All right, we have a motion. You have a second?
Second.
Motion.
Doesn't matter. The ladies.
Can I ask one clarifying question again?
Yes, sir.
Do you want to put a term on the repayment of the 14,000, or are you just saying the same amount of the turf payment on the back end of the turf? Is that what you're thinking?
Sure.
Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, we'll make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be 7,000 instead of right now we pay 65, so.
Yeah.
I think we can make it work.
So the motion would be to award a grant of 14,000 and a loan of up to 14,000 with repayment to be the same amount as their turf pledge on the back end when they pay their turf off, right?
Right.
Okay,
And that loan's from the Tourist Commission, so that's coming back to us.
correct.
Right.
So, yep. Okay, so make sure I had the wording right.
All right. Have a motion. Second. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And one abstention.
Thank you.
So 401. Okay.
Yep.
One abstention.
All right, item number 4.
On that last vote, I abstained from the voting.
Correct, yes.
I
Yep.
have that in the minutes, yep.
Please note that. Okay, thank you.
All right, number 4, room tax guidelines for conventions and training conferences. So back in December, we had an item come up about conferences, and we kind of tabled the item for more discussion. So here we are. Any comments on how we want to do this? It was, go ahead, Tom.
You want me to go first?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was kind of
Yeah.
we approved, I think, was Marshfield
Marshfield
Conference.
Yeah, it's red.
Again,
I abstained
Right.
from it, but
again, the issue, is it open to the public? Is it private? And then many other items with it.
I mean, I'm only speaking on behalf of myself, so, I mean, and whatever the board decides. But what I struggle with this is I know being a member of an association and being on their conference committee 3 years, it was a huge fundraiser for the conference, for the association. I mean, they make tons of money. And I don't know if all of them do that, but everyone
they don't.
Okay.
They don't. There are some that literally put it right back into the next year. So they'll end with a pot.
Right.
Let's just say 20,000.
Yeah.
But that's
But
to
that goes
start it for the next year, such as deposits. Because even though we're in sweet Stevens Point, if you're a new client, we're charging a deposit now.
Right.
And for that group, it would be, if it was at my hotel, which it's not,
Right.
it would be 25,000 to start. So that's what a lot of them are for.
Because I know that the WPRA rotates every year they're in a different place, so I don't know if they put deposits down or how they do that.
If they didn't, they're going to be, but I would say that 60% of your conventions are currently doing that.
The public versus private thing is the thing that I get a little bit hung up on too.
Yeah.
I agree 100% because we have Model Railroad, Wisconsin Model Railroad, and they make money by charging the public to come in.
Okay.
They take that money and give it back into the community.
Okay.
All they keep is money to start the next year. So the Portage County Historic Society, Make-A-Wish, they're all things for Portage County. But so that's one side of it. And I do see all of them. Physically, I'm involved in all of them. The other side is the money, so Redcom, they will spend the money now with doing activities in the area, which will make the attendees spend more money, which means more tax dollars.
Okay.
So it's a fine line. I mean, one of the things, I met with them afterwards, and once again, I did abstain from the vote, but we're going to do cornhole on the square. They're gonna do a miniature golf in the stores to make sure that the people that attend with them have an activity to do and go shopping and go to the restaurants. So if you were going with me to it and I'm attending it and you have nothing to do all day, they're keeping you busy spending money in the area.
Okay.
So it's a fine line because then it is spending more money in our area and it is bringing in more tax dollars.
Michelle, how many conventions are we looking at that are going to find out that we're giving grants? How many applications do you think we'll get a year? I mean, are we going to be bombed with applications for conventions, and then we don't end up having enough cash to really put it back into what we've been doing, recreational kind of things, lighting at Buckel Park and the turf at Zenoff and Gerke Field and all that kind of stuff. That's a concern of mine.
So the grants
and
are
I agree
public.
with Tom. I think a lot of those conventions, and I know there are some that put it right back in the next year, but there are some that it's a huge moneymaker for them.
Correct.
And that goes into their coffers.
That is 100% correct. So the grants are public, if people look them up. We have had some changes at our convention bureau, and they are being mentioned more. So one of the things we could do is educate the Stevens Point CVB. Or create Portage is also talking to people about it. So we have more entities that are talking about it with the upcoming people who are looking at coming into the area.
That was one of my concerns too, and I was on the CVB board for years.
I know.
It's the fact that they used to have the grant program and they stopped that because of COVID, and then they lost money to whatever. Is the fact that, like the Marshfield one, I called the CVB and said, hey, can you help them? Well, we can help them with a state grant.
Correct, and they help write them. The way that I see a lot of it from when I'm doing associations or government or corporate is the transportation element.
Yeah.
Because then they're not getting from point A to downtown to spend the money and to see the city and to have fun, to walk Sculpture Park.
I guess to finish mine would be, I would be more supportive if they push some funding towards it too, grant funding, the CVB. I mean, otherwise what they're going to do is they're going to say, we give them a pot of money every year to run it, which is great, because if they do it, but then they're just going to steer people back to us for our pot of money to bring conventions into town.
Yeah.
So I can't speak on the CVB's behalf, but I have done a lot of research when I first got here. 12 years ago, I did a very big, deep dig into all the local CVBs that are our size, that get conventions our size, to see how much money the CVBs got. These numbers are totally different now because I haven't done it in 8 years. But to give an example, Fox Cities, got 17 times more than the CVB here to do such as grants and writing those monies.
But they are a lot bigger there, right?
So, okay, so Wausau, I mean, we're talking, it's not that far, Rothschild, they're not that far, guys. I mean, when we're talking the Kalahari, I think it was over 100 more. But ours is in the bottom 10 for the state. That's why they stopped doing those grants. They don't have it. They have to spend it on payroll, even with getting the building from Century. So, and I'm just speaking from what I've researched. I'm not speaking for them. But I do think it's something that literally, a conversation for a half hour is not going to take care of this.
Right.
This is more,
Michelle,
yeah.
when you made those comparisons, do other cities do what our city does and takes a third off to fix roads and sidewalks in Stevens Point, and then takes another third off for this function and another third off for this function?
Some do.
You see what I'm saying? In those cities, do they get a big percentage of all of the room tax, or do those municipalities peel some off before?
Most of them do have things that are peeled off, but probably not to the point ours is.
Yeah.
But ours is our community. We also do a lot with parks here. Most of them do not. They make those a city entity. So ours is, it's one of the reasons I love this place. It is our community. I do think that we do need to talk about this and get it done. But I honestly feel we're talking, it needs to be a longer, written out discussion of pros and cons and come down to a bottom line. I don't think it's something we can do in an hour.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I think,
So we should form a subgroup and work
Yeah.
on something and come back here. I guess our only goal would be before December,
Yeah.
as far as,
even before the grants go out.
Yeah, grants
Right.
typically
Yeah.
go out the last week of October.
right,
Okay,
right.
so it's got to be before then.
So any volunteers or all of us, or what's your?
Yeah, I'm happy.
I think all of us makes a great subgroup.
Yeah.
There's only 5 of
I
us.
agree, but I do think it's something that, is most definitely,
It's got to be 2 members or less, right? 3's a quorum.
Yeah. That's the problem
So if you
we're running into.
so if you want to do it more, if it's 3 people or more, you have to notice the meeting,
Yeah,
because it'd be a majority of the room tax
Oh.
committee.
open record.
I don't think that's an issue, do you?
Yeah.
It is, yep. So you'd have to either do, if you do a subgroup, doesn't have to be noticed if it's 2. If it's 3, you got to publish that you're doing it.
No.
It would just be an open discussion.
Yeah, it'd be
Right,
like-
but it's
yeah,
not-
which is fine.
it's not videoed to where we're talking about it.
We'd have to agenda it, saying that a quorum of the Tourism Commission will be meeting. So it wouldn't have to be videoed necessarily.
That's why I'm saying we could have an open.
Correct. You could just meet
I
in the room.
don't see that as a problem.
It's not a problem. I just want to make
No.
sure you know it.
Yeah.
Just- You'd have
Right.
to
Great.
schedule it, send it to me, and then I can publish an agenda saying a quorum will be here, wherever you're going to
Got it.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
be. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that sounds good.
all right. Any other comments or questions?
Maybe we should
And-
invite some people to the quorum. I mean, like the CVB
CBC,
has a state in it, do you know
Could
what I
do that.
mean?
Right.
Sounds good to me.
We'd almost have to hear from them, because now we've had a discussion about what they do and don't do.
Right.
And who are
Well,
we to decide?
just my opinion.
Right.
Just
Right.
Who are we to
my
decide,
opinion.
tell them that they need to start doing this or not do it?
All right, let's plan a meeting, we'll invite them, and we'll go
Okay.
from there. So, all right, very good. All right, item number 5, adjournment. Motion.
Motion to
Second.
adjourn.
All right, thank you, everybody. Have a great day.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.